Times are tough, so save time and money by skipping business trips and using GoToMeeting. Visit gotomeeting.com/techpodcast and get 30 days for free. It's Randall Bennett from TechV. We're joined by Doug Aamoth from CrunchGear, come from CNET, talking about some stuff happening in the show floor, if there is very much. Let's talk about the first. Well, so before we go any further, I first want to point out Doug's wrist. How amazing this! So tell us about this gadget that you were so nice to bring by.
I call it an accessory.
It's yeah. This is you see these old. This is born out of an older gentleman eavesdropping on us in the Sahara this morning, and it's kind of inside baseball, but you see the guys at the show that have like worked in the corporate world their whole life, and they're like, you know what? I have a great idea for a product. It's going to make everyone's life easier. So he was like, you bloggers are going around, and I know it's probably hard just getting your cell phone out of your pocket. You could probably, what if you had it on your wrist at all times? And I was like, that seems
like the worst idea ever.
Maybe I'm saving a couple seconds. And he was like, well, let me show you this. And he's doing all this stuff. And I was like, oh, please don't say it's Velcro. And sure enough, it's Velcro. He talked me into taking my case off my iPhone, my protective case. And so now I've got Velcro on my iPhone. It's $80, and it's
$80.
And I tell you, this guy has no idea.
You can make one for like 10.
It was born out of a rollerblade wrist guard.
That's what it looks like.
And he's working on. It's called the WristOffice. He's working on the thigh office for ladies. And I can't tell you how many jokes have been made, like, "Oh, I bet you keep it on vibrate."
I was like, just hope you don't get any text messages while you're working.
But he's gotten so much press on this today. It's not even funny because I said, "Sir, you can send it to me. I'll review it because I'm the reviews there for CrunchGear." And he's like, "I'm not," and he goes, "I'm not going to give you one unless you're going to use it." And I was like, "Wow, that's refreshing because
I'll use it all day."
Normally, yeah. So I said I'll wear it all day and I'll report back to you. And so I'm updating the review live on CrunchGear too.
So first thoughts, impressions, suggestions. I'd like to see. Do you ever see these guys that have like a spring-loaded Derringer, like in the 1880s? You like, and like it would just be right in the hand.
Or like Spider-Man, like you're like, bam, bam.
The biggest wow moment for me was shortly after I put it on initially. I went into the bathroom and I was at the urinal and I was like, wow, that's like 6 inches for anything down there. So I had to go like this, and I was standing like this, and I had to steer with this one. Which is hard. You need two hands to kind of do stuff. So I've been kind of like, wow. It's like some flaws, some kinks that need to be worked out. But other than that, it's a sound product.
But it's $80.
Yeah, $80.
Maybe they could tell.
I asked him. I said, how much was it? And he was like, well, it's $80. Like that's
like it's nothing.
Yeah. So
auxiliary shoulder thing and be like when you're
done. You put it on your shoulder.
But I bet you he sells a few of these just because I've been talking about it all day long.
Pause.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. So $80 for that. We're also hearing that for a little bit more, we've seen some media streamers that are 80 to about 200. Now the Boxy Box we saw it's for real. We're seeing it in person. We saw the keyboard, which is announced.
That thing is cool.
Yeah. So John, I mean, when you look at the Boxy Box and you look at sort of these media streamers, there's a lot of them now. What are sort of the highlights of them?
Well, to me, first of all, it seems like for years we had these in-house media streamers, and it was like, does it do this one codec that I really need to do? Does it do MKV and all this stuff?
It's very hardcore, very like edge.
Yeah, very geek oriented. And the problem was they always were like, they sort of did a lot of the stuff and then they didn't do any DRM stuff, which we wanted for iTunes, which you don't need anymore. Yeah. And it was a very geeky thing, and it was very expensive, and it did one thing. We thought a lot was going to end up being like built into DVD players, stuff like that, and it sort of was, and didn't go anywhere.
You still
at
kind
first.
of have like the LG like media streaming Netflix stuff, but not really. It's not really to that stage of ubiquity or whatever.
But it's now kind of finally getting there, and it's happening in products that are just like $130.
Yeah.
But they're kind of going two ways now. They're like still doing the in-house stuff, and then like, oh, here's all this web content you can get as well. And that has been the more interesting thing for the mainstream audience, I think, especially with these better web services like Netflix and Amazon.
Let's talk about some of the actual boxes. So I mean, I look at Boxy. It's interestingly designed, as in some people hate it because you can't stack it looks like a cube coming out of the ground, which is kind of interesting. And there's some other ones like Poppenauer, Popbox, a bunch of other ones. I mean, do you think these products are actually like more ready for the regular people?
I think they're getting there, and there's, if you really look at something like the LG Blu-ray player, this year they had the BD390, or last year I should say, which was the best standalone Blu-ray player we reviewed.
Best non-PS3 Blu-ray player.
Yeah, standalone. And that's the other thing, like the game consoles also do the in-house streaming really well, and now the Netflix stuff.
Sure.
So,
well, I mean, it's and Doug, for you, like, you look at this media streaming stuff? I mean, does it really appeal to you? How does it kind of fit into your like media consumption?
I don't like having to switch inputs on my TV. So, like, I have a TiVo, I can stream stuff to that.
Yeah.
Comcast is a lost cause. I give up on streaming anything to there, but they could just open up those boxes. I think it's interesting.
That's what's really interesting to me, though, is like these $130 boxes seem to be so much better and more interesting and flexible than the cable boxes, which the hardware can now do all that stuff, but the cable company is so monolithic on what they're like. You must pay $150 to get your channel.
If Boxy put a cable card tuner, if you could put a cable card tuner into a Boxy, I would
keep on hearing that, like, you know, if Boxy only had some way to watch TV on.
But everybody said that about Apple TV as well, and I don't. The cable companies, I think, are the problem here because they just don't want to play ball.
Cable card is sort of a nightmare.
Cable card.
You can't actually watch TV without having a cable box. Nothing talks to cable boxes properly. So I guess cable companies are sort of digging their heels in and want to make sure that these things don't.
And now succeed. That's why I think the Comcast NBC thing is so interesting because they're like, well, we'll just buy the channel so we can make sure it doesn't, get in on any of these alternative distribution networks.
I'd be interested to hear what Apple thinks about all this stuff. With that, Apple TV could have been such a huge hit if they opened it up, but it's all
years ago.
Yeah, they could have. Apple TV could have had cornered this market years ago.
Which is why Boxy, I mean, that really was Boxy's big breakout. Was we run on Apple TV, and realistically now with the box, I mean, they have a price point on that. I think
$199.
I think they keep saying around 200, but I think they have to hit 199.
Yeah. So at that point, with that nice little remote on that kind of.
I mean, we keep hearing this rumor that Apple is shopping around some kind of subscription TV thing, which I think would be great. I'd love to see them or Roku or anybody else do that.
And run around the cable companies. You just subscribe to like Bravo through
a la carte,
or through TechFee, through Apple, and all through TechFee. No. But so I mean, do you think that's really the solution? If we have that mainstream content people expect, like ESPN maybe, or ESPN 360 on Boxy maybe, or something like that.
ESPN 3D. Yes, and
by the way, you lose points for mentioning 3D in the show.
I'm sorry.
It's I
think everyone drink one.
I think what's interesting is I think that recent spat between Fox and Time Warner was really indicative of kind of
the beginning of the end.
Because they basically wanted, a lot of people don't know this, like all the money you're paying to the cable company, they're parsing out, 50
so like
cents to this
ESPN takes
channel.
$4 from every cable check.
So what I saw was ESPN made like $6.6 billion last year. 2.2 was advertising. The other 4.4, if I remember correctly, was those cable
access fees or whatever.
So if Boxy or Roku or anybody else said, "Hey, we just want to offer our subscribers $4.50 to get ESPN," they'd be like, "Wait, we're not losing any money there."
If you could have a media streamer in ESPN for $4.50 a month, would you do that?
If I could have live sports, I would drop the cable box.
And if it was the family of ESPN networks for $4.50, I think most people would pay for that, and ESPN wouldn't lose on that cable access revenue. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
It wouldn't affect their profits.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be definitely interesting to see. I hope the media streamers really take off. I'm a big fan of Boxy. We've had Avner on our show a bunch, the CEO of Boxy, so I really hope it works out.
So the one thing,
the caveat
on Boxy was like it was the Hulu box, and then Hulu.
No, but there's still MLB, there's still Netflix, still some good stuff.
Look, when they showed it to me at PepCom, they were showing Hulu on the box.
Yeah, so
and I don't know if that's going to make it into the final version.
Still can happen.
I thought that was
interesting. We dug that up, and the guy said that it's a cat and mouse game between Hulu and Boxy. There's some Hulu content that'll run, but not all. I don't know how that.
Yeah, he said like 95%.
We'll have to see what happens, guys. We're gonna leave it there so we can get this video on YouTube.
That's the end of the show.
Yeah, that's the end.
Why are they always only 5 minutes?
That's what happens.
We could do this for 45 minutes.
Doug Aamoth from
CrunchGear,
John Falcone from CNET, Randall Bennett from TechView. We're gonna see you later. The extended version. Somehow.
You need premium content.
Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll charge $4.50 for Doug playing with the wrist thing.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'll do it. That'll be on my site.
See what happens next.
Doug plays with the wrist.net.
See you later.